After a very long but successful first generation, Audi finally replaced the Q7 last year, to much acclaim. The new model was more than just a reskinning, it was a fundamental ground-up rethink, which is part of the reason why it lost 700 pounds. Now for 2018, Audi hasn't changed much, but they did give it a bit more standard equipment to each of the 3 trim levels. As Audi's flagship SUV, it has a lot of weight on its shoulders, so let's go ahead and see how it stacks up. We would like to specially thank Audi of Lexington for giving us access to today's vehicle. If you would like to find out more information about their stunning dealership and large inventory of all the Audi models, then follow the link to their website provided in the video description. The first 2018 change is that intelligent entry is now standard on every trim. That means they all come with this very luxurious key fob. Another change is that power door closing is now standard on Prestige. As usual, we'll start out the review under the hood. There are no 2018 changes in this area, which means you continue to have 2 choices, a turbo 4-cylinder on the low end, and a supercharged 6-cylinder on the high end. Since this is the Prestige, we have the 3-liter supercharged V6 standard, and it makes 333 horsepower and 325 pound-feet of torque. You can option this onto the lower trims if you desire. Those trims come standard with Audi's ubiquitous 2-liter turbo i4, which makes 252 horsepower and 273 pound-feet of torque. Regardless of which one you choose, both models get an 8-speed automatic transmission paired with standard full-time quattro all-wheel drive. Now when it comes to fuel economy, you might be surprised to know that the 4-cylinder only achieves 1 mpg better combined than the V6. The actual numbers are 20 city, 25 highway, 22 combined for the i4, and 19 city, 25 highway, 21 combined for the V6. Now that we have the basics out of the way, let's go ahead and check out the features and styling of the outside. Like all Audis, you have the single frame grille up front, and this one has the latest 3D look to it. Also, if you're looking for a bit more pizzazz, there is an optional titanium black optic package, which makes the grille entirely black. Moving to the headlights, we have the very elaborate looking full LED setup, but these are only standard on the Prestige. The other trims have xenon HIDs with LED daytime running lights instead. So the ground clearance is already good at 8.1 inches, but you can go up to 9.6 if the optional air suspension is chosen. That's only available on the Prestige trim. For 2018, the Q7 will continue to offer a slew of wheel options. What you're looking at now are the standard Prestige 20-inch 10-spoke alloy wheels, though you can option on 2 different 21-inch Audi Sport wheels. For the other trims, you have 18-inch alloys on the 4-cylinder models, and 19-inch alloys for the V6 models. For brakes, you have 14.8-inch ventilated disc in the front and 13.8-inch ventilated disc in the rear. The tires are all seasons as expected. Coming up to the mirrors, they are heated and power folding for all trims. They also have an LED turn signal, but you have to move up to the Premium Plus to add auto dimming. That piece would be black with the black optic package. The Q7 measures in at 199.6 inches long. That makes it several inches longer than the Volvo XC90, Acura MDX, or Infiniti QX60, though it is still a little shorter than the Mercedes GLS. Now in the area of safety, the Q7 really delivers. Not only has it achieved the highest distinction of a Top Safety Pick Plus from the Insurance Institute of Highway Safety, but it also has a lot of active safety gear. Forward emergency braking is standard, and the driver's assistance package adds to the Prestige trim active lane keep assist, high beam assist, and adaptive cruise control with traffic jam assist. That last feature gives it a little bit of autonomous driving abilities. Looking at the rear styling, I think it's amazingly sleek for something this big. The taillights have a really neat design to them, something Audi calls the double arrow design. They are uninterrupted thanks to the clamshell tailgate, but there's no dynamic turn signals. Dropping down, you will always find these dual horizontal exhausts, set inside this silver diffuser. And when it comes to towing, you have pretty decent numbers. The 4-cylinder can handle 4,400 pounds, and the V6 7,700 pounds, both with the towing package. The fuel tank on every Q7 can hold 22.5 gallons. That's good for a 495-mile range for the 4-cylinder, and a 473-mile range with the V6. Both engines do want premium fuel. One last thing. These silver roof rails are standard on every trim, but they would be black with the black optic package. Anyways, that does it for the outside, so now let's move on to the luxurious interior. I believe the Q7 was the first Audi to introduce this new interior design language, which has since spread like wildfire across the lineup. For this application in the Q7, you have even more ways than usual to outfit this space. Real leather is standard across the board, and the basic colors you pick between are black, gray, beige, or brown. From there you pick between 3 wood trims: Terra Brown Walnut, Layered Walnut, or Gray Oak. Finally, on Prestige, there is an additional luxury package that you can add, and that gets you Valcona leather seating and a unique cedar brown color. Coming to the door trim, it looks much the same as other Audis, with soft touch plastic for the armrest. All 4 of the windows are fully automatic. These 2-person memory seats are standard across the board. On our Prestige, the seat is 12-way power adjusting, while the other trims are 8-way instead. The standard leather is very nice and supple, but of course the available Valcona seats with massaging take that up a notch. First looking around, the cabin has the typical modern design, and the material choices are also typical Audi. The entire upper portion is all soft touch plastic with high quality graining, and below it you have a lot of both wood and piano black trim. The same goes for this area as well. And finally, you would get leather trim along here if you have the luxury package. Most other Audis include this standard on Prestige though. The Q7 keeps its push button start in a more traditional spot. After you push it, a screen will pop up, either 7 inches on Premium or 8.3 inches on the other two. The Prestige trim also gets virtual cockpit standard. Now I'm not going to go into a lot of detail here, since this is exactly the same as it is in all the other Audi products. I will point out though that Google Earth Maps can be here, they just have to be activated, which I didn't do. The steering is electric power assisted, and the steering wheel itself has a classy leather wrap design. These buttons correspond to virtual cockpit, and this side various other things like the heated steering wheel. The wipers are rain sensing for all 3 trims, and all 3 also get paddle shifters. Lastly, the steering wheel itself does power adjust for the Premium Plus and up. Like I've already touched on, we have the driver's assist technologies, including adaptive cruise control with traffic jam assist. This feature is not to the level of the new A8, but it does still allow for low-speed semi-autonomous driving. I completely skipped it earlier, but our Prestige also has a heads-up display. As you can see, it's got a lot of things here, including your navigation instructions. Now moving on to storage, the Q7 has a little less space than some of the top rivals. Up here you have a little bin, but the actual center console is small. It is at least felt lined, and there are a lot of other connections in here as well. Both sides do adjust separately, which is a thoughtful touch. And finally, up in the front, there is another small area with a 12-volt outlet. Even though this is an electronic shifter, you can still shift manually by kicking it off to the side. When you shift into reverse, you'll always find a standard rear view camera with dynamic guidance lines. But the Prestige also adds a 360-degree camera. As you can see, there are a lot of different views, including making the bird's eye view even bigger. The image quality is some of the best I've ever seen, and parking sensors are also standard, by the way. A 10-speaker sound system is standard. Premium Plus and Prestige get a 19-speaker Bose 3D sound system, and there is even an optional 2,000-watt 23-speaker Bang & Olufsen sound system, optional on Prestige for $5,000. My phone is dead, so I can't give you a sample, but I'll add in a clip from last year's Q7 with the same sound system. As you can hear, the sound quality is great. Coming up to the climate system, most models have 3-zone automatic, but the Prestige does step it up to 4 zones with the fancier button arrangement. As you can see, the toggles are touch sensitive. If you click down to rear, you can control the settings for both of the rear seats, or they can do it themselves from the back. Next to it, we have both 3-stage heating and ventilation. The venting is only standard on Prestige. On this row above, there is some more stuff like the Audi Drive Select. This allows you to pick between numerous drive modes, including a customizable individual mode. Air suspension settings would also be in here if we had that option. Anyways, now that brings us to the Audi MMI system. Let's take a quick look. Starting with audio, you have a ton of options. If you click into media, you can check out all of the extra sources that are not FM, AM, or XM radio. Next, we will check out phone. By clicking the menu, you can select the directory, which has automatically imported your contacts. Scrolling is super easy, but at the top you can use the handwriting functionality to search that away. Text message support is also included. Next, we have navigation. It too has the same 3D Google Maps view, which looks fantastic. Zooming is done by twisting the knob or by pinching on the touchpad. You can also scroll around with a 2-finger gesture on the pad. Finally, models with navigation get access to the smartphone interface. This is where Android Auto or Apple CarPlay would show up if you connect a compatible phone via USB. That's all I'm going to go over here, so if you'd like to see a more extensive look at the MMI system, including Audi Connect apps, Android Auto, and settings, then check out our dedicated tech help video. A link is provided in the video description. Every model will get this auto-dimming rearview mirror. And here are the HomeLink universal remotes. Audi also nicely includes this panoramic moonroof standard. As you can see, the sunshade is powered, and the front portion does open up as expected. Some rivals in this class only have dual panel setups, so this one looks pretty impressive. So overall, the cabin of the Q7 continues to be a great place to spend a lot of time. It is very spacious, luxurious, and high-tech. So ultimately, what else could you expect from a luxury SUV? Now let's check out the rest of the cabin. Looking into the rear of the Q7, you'll see 38.8 inches of both legroom and headroom. That's enough to put it well ahead of main competitors, like the Acura MDX and Volvo XC90. The rear door trim keeps the same materials from the front, which means it's all soft touch. Prestige also gets this shade. In the center area, you'll find some large rear vents. And like I mentioned, the Prestige is 4 zones, so it gets these unique buttons to match with the front ones. Below that we have 3-stage heating, included in the cold weather package. And finally, there are 2 12-volt outlets at the very bottom. So here's what the legroom looks like with the seat adjusted to my driving position. It's all really good, but particularly impressive is the foot space. You can also slide and recline the seats. Here you've got a center armrest with a couple pop-out cup holders inside. So all in all, it's hard to beat what the rear seats offer. You've got all the comfort, space, and features you'd ever want. And compared to other Germans in this class, it does cost less. There's no fancy sliding mechanism to get to the third row, so you just have to fold the seat. On every trim, a power third row is standard, which certainly makes things a lot easier. Sitting back here, it's not real spacious, but keep in mind that the second row seat is as far back as it can go. But foot space is commendable here as well, so that keeps things from being too claustrophobic. You do also have a cup holder. The tailgate will always be power, but only the Premium Plus and Prestige get the hands-free feature. Once it's popped open, you'll find 14.8 cubic feet behind the third row, 37.5 cubic feet behind the second row, and a maximum of 71.6 cubic feet with all of the seats folded. That puts it at a disadvantage of about 15 cubic feet to the XC90, but a few cubic feet larger than the Acura MDX. You have the same third row buttons back here also. As you can see, it's nice and flat with the seats folded. And one thing I don't think I've ever seen on an SUV before is a rear sunshade, but this one's got it standard on Prestige. The passenger seat will always match the driver's seat, so it will either be 8-way or 12-way power adjusting. The glove box is pretty large and felt lined. There's also a little vent in there to keep stuff cool. Well guys, we hope you enjoyed this detailed review of the 2018 Audi Q7 3.0T Prestige. Stay tuned for all the pricing information of this Q7 as well as the rest of the lineup. Be sure to hit like and subscribe if you enjoyed. And don't forget to come join us next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.